By now, you've learned a lot about how our brains process information and store memories. Let's review a few of the key concepts. Learning can be passive or active. For example, we may make a conscious effort to actively learn a new skill, such as playing the piano, which requires practice. On the other hand, we may absent-mindedly pick up a tune we hear on the radio without any effort. Several strategies can be used when learning, such as association, repetition, and imitation.
Declarative memory refers to the memory of discrete information such as specific facts, people's names, and the location of things. The portion of the brain responsible for this kind of memory is the cerebrum.
Procedural memory, on the other hand, is our knowledge of how to do things. Some examples include walking, tying your shoes, and riding a bicycle. Another example is being able to recognize a word before you've had a lot of time to consciously process it. Take a look at this sentence. Now do your best to fill in the blank letters in the following words. You may have been able to recognize the words books, shelf, and write, even though they were never explicitly mentioned. This is because your brain was unconsciously primed to look out for words related to reading and writing by the previous sentence. Priming is when exposure to one idea influences a response to other ideas without conscious guidance or intention. Procedural memories are processed differently from declarative memories and are stored in the cerebellum.
One very important part of the brain that we haven't yet mentioned is the hippocampus. We have two, one on each side of the brain, and together they play a critical role in consolidating short-term memory to long-term memory.
Oral tradition is a way of passing down collective memories or information. Instead of being written down, oral traditions are typically passed along by communication between people, sometimes over the course of generations. Examples include customs that you may not know the origin of, such as blowing out birthday candles or engaging in a handshake. Other examples include fables, a short story with a lesson, legends, or fairy tales. These accounts are not as subjective as pictures or recordings of events, but can reveal important information about the past or present culture of a group of people.
In addition to their intended function, oral traditions are also a great example of how humans utilize multiple different kinds of memory in their everyday life. The playing of instruments that typically accompany musical oral traditions is a perfect example of procedural memory, and recalling the lessons and plot of a specific oral tradition is a perfect example of declarative memory in action.
Now you have the chance to become the storyteller. Think about one of your favorite memories. Feel free to pause the video if you need more time to recall. Then think about answering the following questions. Which kind of memory is it? A how or what memory? What kind of senses were involved in making it? Sight, smell, touch, hearing, or taste, or a combination? What type of learning was involved? Association, imitation, or repetition? What helped it be kept in long-term memory? Was it exciting or surprising, or did you practice until you learned? And finally, which parts of the brain were used to form and keep this memory?